Hey, it's Rich. Welcome back. I just finished my 42nd week on Wegovy. I took my shot just a few minutes ago. So far, so great. I'm going to go back to that phrase. For those of you who follow my channel and have watched the last 8 videos, 10 videos now, I've been kind of going sideways on the drug. I've been, I was at the lowest dose, 0.25, and I was starting to feel more hungry. And I thought, well, that's just the tail end of Christmas and New Year's and the holiday season and all the things around to eat, and maybe it would settle back down, and it didn't. So I ultimately went up to 0.5, and that seems to have settled things down at least for a little while. So I'm back on track. It seems pretty good. So I will say so far so great, because overall it's been great, right? It's overall I've lost, not including this week now, I had lost 85 pounds or something like that, 84 pounds. And I had gone up a little more, and I lost even a little more than that. And then I gained some back, and now I'm back on the, I think as of last week, I was back on the right track. Stick around to the end to see how it went this week. So far so great. Uh, Last week I talked about how I'd come back from vacation and I had missed a dose, so I didn't take the dose that I typically take. So even though I'm typically have been saying, "Hey, I just completed 42 weeks. I just took my 43rd shot." Well, now I just took my 42nd shot because I missed the dosage during the week because they didn't have access to refrigeration. And typically you're supposed to refrigerate these type of drugs, Wegovy and Ozempic and things like that. Again, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just giving my own personal experience and my own interpretation of the instructions, and looking on the internet and listening to people and talking to my doctor, probably in that order, which may not be the best idea. But I pretty much have found that you're supposed to refrigerate the drugs. And so I didn't take the drug with me. And I should have, because what I found out when I Googled it, because several people said, you don't have to have it always refrigerated. You could have gone a couple days without it being refrigerated, because on the Google, which is the internet just on a bunch of tubes for those old people like me, what it is, it says that it can go up to 28 days unrefrigerated. So if I had gone a couple of days, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 days unrefrigerated, that would have been okay. I didn't know that. So instead, what I did is I didn't take the drug that week. I think that's okay too, if I don't have too many of those. So I think partly it's okay because it was my choice. Now, if the pharmacy wasn't able to provide the drug, I would be outraged, and it would have been a ruinous event. But because I chose to do it, I think it's okay. It's like every other, uh, for those of you who have kids, it's like every other little kid thing. Is when it's their idea, it's great. When it's your idea, even though it may be the same idea, stupid. Um, and that's me. So I think because I decided to do it, it was okay. But I could have brought the drug. So the what I'm trying to say is that you can go a week or two, or I guess 4 weeks without having the drug refrigerated. I don't think I would ever go that long. Certainly can't let it freeze. That was the other thing that was very clear, is that I live in a state where if I left it outside for any length of time, it could freeze. So that would be a bad idea. So, anyways, I just want to bring you up to speed on something that I found out. I'm going to double check that with my doctor in my next visit, which should be coming up pretty quick here. This week has been better. So, I've had my ups and downs over the last 8, 10 weeks, and I think this week has been better. But one thing that I've done, and I think I talked about it, but I wasn't sticking to it very strictly, was that at work we have these fancy coffee machines that are all free, right? At least they're free to me. They're not free to my employer, but they're free to me, and they're really fancy coffee machines. And you can get anywhere from a freshly grinds right in front of you, cup of coffee, to these crazy drinks that you can get at the Starbucks, or in my area we would say Caribou, those type of places, the coffee shops. One of the drinks that I really like is the French vanilla. So, and I think I've told you this, but I can't remember, so I'm going to say it now. The French vanilla, I think, is really just water with as much sugar that can dissolve in it, and then they take a coffee bean and they dunk it in. I think that's what French vanilla is on that coffee machine, because I think what I'm doing is I'm drinking just complete sugar water, and it is delicious. It is really, really good. But when I looked it up online, I saw that the calorie count on the one cup, just one cup of coffee, was 180, and I would have, two, 5 cups of these things, and I would be having 1,000 calories, 900 calories, just from having coffee. And so what I did is I switched to just the freshly ground coffee, and they have some Coffee Mate, which is 25 calories a squirt, right? And so I would use that instead. And so I could have without the sugar, I don't have 5 cups of coffee. I could have my 2 cups of coffee, and total it adds up to 50 calories. I actually got online from Amazon a sugar-free variety, which is the calorie count is like 4 per serving of the French vanilla. It tastes not as good, but it tastes very similar. So it's pretty good. That's my advice to you: is keep looking for calories sneaking into your diet that you don't realize are there, and see if you can't cut those out too. Anyhow, I strained a muscle, so I went to my doctor and I said, "Doc, I strained this muscle." And she said, "Have you done anything differently in the past couple of weeks?" I said, "Yeah, well, I joined a gym. I haven't gone to it yet, but I've joined the gym." And she didn't think that was related. Now, just so you know, I get my jokes off the internet. I get my jokes from making up myself, and I definitely didn't get this joke from my sister. So it did not come from my sister. No matter what she says, I didn't get it from her. But I thought that was pretty funny. I was kind of looking back and looking at exercise, and I was trying to figure out what I did for exercise before. And I think I told you that during COVID, I got 10 steps a day, right? I come from my bed to my chair, and that would be it. Maybe go back once to go to the bathroom, and that 10 steps a day, right? Nothing. And I thought the greatest exercise that I got during, 10 months ago when I started this drug was chewing my, yeah, well, sorry. All right. Well, you didn't come to hear me tell jokes or bad jokes or things that aren't really jokes that I think are funny that you're saying, "Oh, come on, just if I could speed forward through this, I would." But how did I do this week? So I did really well. I felt pretty good throughout the week. I didn't feel hungry. I even had pizza. I only had one piece, though. I looked at the calorie count on the pizza that I was eating, and the pizza was 450 calories. So I had one slice to quench my desire for the pizza without feeling left out. But then I was able to not eat another piece of pizza. I lost 3 pounds. That brings me back down to 87 pounds lost. I'm going right in the direction that I want to go. I'll see you next week.